Hey everybody, welcome to another miscellany episode here on the Spooky Pizza Gift Shop YouTube channel. This is a long video and I don't expect many people will want to watch it. I just took my PowerXL air fryer apart so that I could recycle it because it died. I have a link in the show notes down below to the video on my other channel where I talk about that, but I think most people just throw these things in the trash, and I realized that most of this device was completely recyclable. So I just wanted to do a quick video, which ended up being an hour long. But I enjoy taking things apart. If you like watching other people take things apart, this is for you. If you don't enjoy watching people take things apart, then this is not for you. And spoiler alert, I did not actually injure myself doing this, which is kind of amazing. That's the most amazing part. So, yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, watch and enjoy. And if not, just feel free to skip. Talk to you later. Hey, it's Ken. I've got a cord in the way. Of course I do. So anyway, on my other channel, I talked about how I bought this PowerXL air fryer slash grill, and it did a beautiful job, and then it just quit working, and I researched it, and apparently the circuit board on these things just dies. So it's no good. The fan will run and that's it. And normally something like this would just go in the trash. I know for a fact, however, that a lot of this is probably recyclable. For example, this lid, it has two screws here that this plastic handle pops out, and there's a little recycling triangle on this plastic handle. And I know the rest of the lid is just glass and metal. And what they'll do at the recycling plant is just run this through a big hammer mill and use a magnet to get all the metal bits out and recycle the glass. So I'm going to try to take this apart as much as possible so that it can go in the recycling instead of in the trash. And what's going to happen is I am going to end up with a bunch of fasteners. So, and I don't know if this will show up on the camera. I'm using a completely different camera angle. But there you can see there's that little recycling mark. So that handle is perfectly recyclable. And I did go to Sam's Club and get a box to put all of these pieces in, so I can just take them out, the recyclable parts out to the recycling bin. So I had a butcher's at this all the way around before I started, and I know I'm going to need at least one security bit. And you can buy these security bits fairly cheaply, but I do have my ratcheting screwdriver. There we go. And a couple of short stubby screwdrivers just in case. Parts of this might get boring, so I'll just speed those parts up and play some music for you. And I've got a cheap dollar store tablecloth to protect my table, and you can't really see it, but it's already torn. So when I said cheap, I did mean cheap. So the first thing I want to do is probably take this. This is the grill. I might keep that, and this is the metal insert, and I don't know if that would be good to put like a plant pot in or something. It's very deep, so I might keep it for that purpose. So I might keep those two things, but I do want to get, starting with this lid, I want to get this lid off. So I've got to figure out how this attaches, and there are 4 screws here that seem to be holding on a cover, so we will get these off and see what's under there. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, so yeah. Anyway, so I am going to end up with a bunch of spare fasteners, which is fine. I always keep bits and pieces like that because you just never know what you're going to need. And that does not seem to be accomplishing anything for us. So we will open it back up. And there are some screws. I'm not sure. Oh, I see. There's some screws down in here. So I'm probably... yeah, this could be interesting. So my life will get a lot easier as soon as I can get this lid off. So I've got to figure out what's holding it together. Really, at this point, not worried about breaking anything because it doesn't work. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is get this cover off. So I actually really liked this thing until one day I turned it on. This pan was big enough I could bake a round loaf of cornbread in here in about 10 minutes. It did a great job of it. But then one day I turned it on and it just was not heating up. And I thought, well, is there a fuse on here or something that's bad? No. So I researched it, and yeah, I found a bunch of threads all over the place that said PowerXL products are kind of known for just suddenly giving up the ghost one day. And it's the circuit board. The circuit board overheats, I guess. And that's it. So it's too bad. It does mean I will be very reluctant to ever buy a PowerXL product ever again. Because I loved this thing. It was so great. But, you know, it was on clearance at Sam's Club, and they had a lot of them, and it was $150 originally. And I think I bought it for like $89, and they had a ton of them left. So maybe its reputation preceded it. I don't know. So, yeah. So, and of course, some of these little screws are stripping out so easily, and I'm not really putting that much torque on them. So they're not using the highest quality materials, most likely. You know, this one would be better. Oops. There we go. All right, so let's see if that gets us any access to something. And it does not. You know, and of course, they build these things so you can't take them apart easily. I'm guessing that screw's just spinning. These screws are just spinning. They loosen up a little bit, and then they just sit there and spin, so I'm wondering. I wonder why that is. Maybe applying a little upward pressure. There we go. Ah, there we go. So you got to pull up on these a little bit. Apparently there's a nut on the other side, because I hear things falling. Yep, these are bolts. These aren't screws. So there's a nut on the other end of that. So that's what was happening with that. So this, of course, is metal and can be recycled. So this bit here, now there's going to be wiring attached to this, and I do feel some sharp edges here, so I need to be careful. Okay, so there is indeed quite a bit of wiring, so I'm just going to go in and undo screws. And there is a motor here and a fan, and I think all of that can be recycled. So there's that wire. Maybe if I tip it like this. Oh, there go those nuts. And these are some nice little lock nuts. So, not lock nuts, but flanged nuts with a serrated bottom. So they are kind of locking in a way. So we're gonna get some useful fasteners off of this. You gotta live your life with if you don't have a jar full of excess fasteners that you can rely on when you lose something somewhere. You know, what are you doing with your life? Okay. So a little clip here. All right, and so I did not think, well, okay, so this part is done. So this was the top lid. And indeed, if you look, where did it go? Right there. There is a recycling mark. So instead of putting all this in the garbage, this is going to get recycled. I do need to get, however, some wire cutters. So I'll be right back. Okay, and what I have here are the world's worst set of diagonal cutters. Why are they so bad? I don't know. They were just cheap to begin with. See, this is like a thermocouple. This is part of the thermostat here. So what I need to do is just cut this wire nut off. And these wires probably are not recyclable, but yeah, if that'll pull off. Nope. Cut away. Swing away, Meryl. Swing away. No, I didn't need to cut that at all. I need to cut this bit here. And, okay. So, here's the other nut. Oops. Actually, I think what I'm going to do, I've got a clipboard with all the screws and bolts and nuts I've taken off. I'm just going to throw them in here for now. And we'll see what we end up with when all is said and done. Here's another screw. That's okay. That was holding this vent on. So this little bit of plastic is not marked as recyclable, nor is this. And I recognize this kind of thermoplastic. It's used a lot in car parts, but I don't see a recycling mark anywhere. So that will go in the garbage. All right, so one last little screw there. And this looks like it just pops off now. It's got a long pin that I probably could just drive out. There we go. So this side. There we go. Okay, so now we have a nice long pin. And this bit comes off, and indeed, that does have, where's my camera? Does have right there a little recycling triangle. So that bit will go in the recycling bin as well. This is all metal. And I think later on I will take the fan off of this. I forgot to bring some nut runners, but this is kind of sharp, so I might want to put on some gloves. But I will take this motor off and this fan off, and all the rest of this can go in the recycling because it's just metal. So I'll set that on the floor over there where I can trip over it later, and then try to explain that to my insurance company. So a couple more screws on the inside right here, and this is the switch that told it when there was a pan in here, and that dropped down underneath. Oops, we're getting out of frame. Again, I'm not used to shooting like this. So basically my whole plan of attack here is just if I see a screw, I'm just going to remove it, check to see if the whatever comes off is recyclable. And if it is, great, it's going to go in the recycle bin. And if it's not, it will go in the trash. But my goal is to reduce the amount of trash. I do have a magnet. So this little bit here that doesn't want to come out, aha, there we are. So, and this little screw over here, ta-da. So this whole piece should lift up now, maybe. I don't know. There's something else holding it in place. Well, we will figure it out. There's two long, deep screws in here. Get you back over here. Okay, I don't think my magnet will fit in there. Nope. So I'll have to tip this up. Oh, there's that screw. And they drop out. And These are just ordinary thread forming screws for plastic. And so we'll go to the bottom and see what else we can get out. So I've got a couple of screws here that are close to the cord. So we'll get that off. And you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a few extra cords lying around. Because something like this, sometimes if you need a very short extension cord, you can just take this short length and just put an outlet on this end, and then you have an extension cord that's about that long, which is sometimes all you need. I'm looking at this piece of plastic here. This is also recyclable. This is the one with the security bit. So I'm going to try to get as close in as that as possible. And see, you can't really see it because of the glare. But that's a little triangular bit. So I've got to hope that I have something that matches it. And I think I do. There. It looks like that. How close can I get? So, yep, that is the one. So, always, this is the one part they really don't want you getting into, but now that little screw. And I do keep security bits. I do have a collection of them that I've taken out of things over the years, and I do keep those separate because I don't want to accidentally use a security screw. And someday when I'm putting things back together and then can't figure out why it's not working. So this plastic bit should come out. Okay, and that is indeed recyclable. So he goes in there. Did we get these screws out? No. So I don't know about you. I've loved taking things apart ever since I was a kid. So, okay, here we go. So this thing, all right, so this bit here is now coming off, this kind of tower thing, and you can see the circuit board is under here. So what I need to do is get this bottom off and disconnect all of these wires. There's actually, you can see there's a spring here, and this is attached to that big pin in the bottom that it knows how much weight is in there. It knows when that pan is in there. I don't know if it knows how much weight is in there, but it knows that the pan is in there at least. So, like I said, kind of sad that this thing has given up the ghost, but apparently that is what this brand does. So, okay, come on out. Okay, that one's going to be tricky because it has so many little wires attached to it. There we go. So get him out. And the one thing I hope is that there's not any kind of capacitor under here where I will zap myself. That might shoot this channel right to the top of the YouTube algorithm. Watch a guy electrocute himself, but I don't think there's a capacitor in here large enough to zap me. It's not like old-fashioned CRT tubes that did have huge capacitors in them. Come on, turn. There we go. Okay, so that's most of these wires. There's another clip here. All right, so get these guys out. These are the 4 screws that are holding this plastic base on. This thing is engineered fairly well. It's a shame that the circuit board is just not going to work. So you may have noticed I'm wearing 2 watches. I don't know how that happened today. I do sometimes question the life choices I've made. Okay, well, I need to get this off of here, and I know these yellow wires are no longer attached. These are probably grounds. So I'll cut these wires here. Not sure where this blue wire is going to. There's a zip strip here. I'm going to free that up. Okay, that is going to that. All right, so what I need to do is figure out, we've got a yellow wire. Yep, that's the ground. And then we've got our hot and return. So I'm going to cut this as long as possible. Actually, it's a spade connector going right to that circuit board. Yeah, it's not going to come off. Not without me possibly injuring myself, and I'd really rather not do that because this is very close to the holidays, and I'd rather not spend yet another holiday in the hospital. Okay, so this cable here goes to the circuit, to the control panel that's on the front. I don't know if you can see that. And this is actually just clipping into this circuit board. There's a little plastic clip that holds these wires in. It looks like that. And I think I should be able to rock this. Should be. I don't want to damage things too much. But I think I can get this. I think I can get this circuit board off of here because it's only held on by apparently 2 screws. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay, so I have a bunch of wires that are feeding back through here. Okay, so there's a screw here that is underneath this pad. So this comes out. Convenient. Where'd my little stubby screwdriver go? Here he is. So I'm going to be able to get this bottom bit off. Okay, so there we go, and this guy does indeed have a recycling mark on him there. So he gets recycled, and get this out of here. Oh. I'm dropping screws, that's okay. I've got a place for them to go. Now, what does that release? This cover has to come off somehow. And if I look at this, okay, so I think if I put a screwdriver in here, there we go, we can slide that out. All right, and now we have this guy, and not sure what is holding him in place. Ah, there we go. So this piece of plastic also has a little recycling mark, so he gets recycled. And I'm not sure about this bit. So there's a plug there that this wiring harness plugged into. So I think I need to, at this point, okay, I can cut this wire and then pull the cord out. All right, so here's our cord, and that could be used for something down the road. I don't know what. All right, so if I look at this, I can wiggle this out of this connector. There we go. There's a little clip here. Can't really see it, but there's a little spring clip here, so I can pull these harnesses out. Oops, one more. And that's our circuit board. This is the part that dies. And this is a 4.7 microfarad capacitor right here. There are two of these guys right there. So not sure what the rest of these components are. There's some resistors. I don't know, a couple, maybe relays? I don't know. Relays would make sense in a thing like this. So, all right, so let's flip it back over and see if anything seems to be coming loose from the top. And it does not. I think I can pull this knob off, though. Or give it a little crystal blue persuasion here. No, maybe not. Okay. So now I'm kind of stuck. There's that spring mechanism. Okay, that's the problem. These screws here hold that pan in. These four screws here. Here and here. And I'm not getting those all the way out because that pan is moving on me. So, I'll set it on the side so I can push from this side and get some resistance. And maybe I can... Okay, yep. That's what I needed to do. I'd love to see the factory where they put these things together. I spent a lot of my working life working in manufacturing, and it never ceases to amaze me how things get built. So come on, guy, come on. Okay, this one is out. There we go. Is he out? Nope. Nope. Okay, 3 more to go. Maybe if I don't use a ratcheting one, I'll be able to feel when it's finally come loose. Yep, okay. Yeah, sometimes a ratcheting screwdriver is not your friend because you can't get as good a feel for how loose the screw is getting. Okay, he is done. I do believe. Yep. 3 down, 1 to go. Hey! Sometimes my hands don't work so well, and I do just drop things. So, there's a... Okay, so now it's loose. There we go. So this is a big cast aluminum plate. I mean, you can hear how loud that is. So these little rubber bits on here. 120 volts, 1300 watts. So this is indeed a heating element, but this can get recycled. And I'm wondering why I can't get this top piece off here, and I don't know if there we go. I just need to get something. There we go. All right, so the reason this plastic piece is not coming off is because it's screwed in all the way around here. So we will come back to that, and this is what we have left. So here's a bit of wire. Here's another bit of wire that I will just cut off. And so, oops, hey, these were those supports. Part of it is metal and part of it is plastic. And those just pull off. These little plastic bits here at the bottom of that post do not have a recycling mark on them, so they will have to get tossed. But again, more metal that will get recycled. So yeah, it's the same kind of weird thermoplastic I've seen that they make some automobile parts out of. So, all right, so here's our other circuit board. Maybe this is the circuit board that always goes bad. I don't know. But this is the one that's the control panel. So this guy is going to come off. More screws. I'm not quite sure what that sounds like on the speaker yet. So, okay, so there's one more screw down at the bottom of this. So let's get him out. Oops. That's a Phelps head. Is it Phelps or is it Phillips? I've heard it both ways. Maybe that screw design was invented by a man named Philip Phelps. Who knows? Okay, so this is our control panel mechanism. And this is another circuit board that's held on with 4 little screws. Oops. All right, come on out. So, this is our other, now I do need to get this off of here, and I'm going to have to force it, I think. Now what I need is a longer bit. So, I can't zoom in up on any of these things because I have the camera up so high that I can't reach it to zoom in on things like I normally do. So but that's just to give me that wider frame of view. Boy, that thing just does not want to come off. Let's see if we can peek. See if there's a clip or something. I'm not sure what is happening with this. So we will come back to that. Let's take a look at this guy now. We've got 2 bits here. This plastic bit and an aluminum bit. And this plastic bit does indeed have a recycling mark in it. So I just want to separate these. And it seems like they're just little bits of plastic that this is clipped into. So I'm going to start over here where it's loose and see if I can't just pull it out without injuring myself. What I need to do is push it out and pull it up to get it around that clip. Oh, I know what to do. Use that screwdriver to push it out and use that one to push it up. Ah, there we go. So this is a big bit of shiny stainless steel. This will get recycled. There indeed is our recycling mark on that one. Where is it? Right there. Yep, right there. So he gets recycled, but he has these little rubber feet on the bottom. I'm going to try to push those out first if I can. If not, oh well. So let's come back to this guy here. We have some screws all the way around this part here. Switch out my bits on my screwdriver. This screw here just holds this. Oh, other way. Oh, come on. Cooperate, fingers. All right, so that just holds this wire on. This, that sounds like aluminum. Okay, so I've got 4 of these out. I'm guessing there are 4 more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I already had 1 of these in the bin, so there's 3. Oh, I lost count. Anyway. So now, how does this guy come out of here? Is he clipped in as well? Here we go. This is a little notch here. There we go. There's a little notch over here. Okay, there we go. So this plastic bit does indeed have a recycling mark there. So he gets recycled. And this guy, this plastic bit here says it has a recycling mark on it, but I don't, there. I was going to say I don't know how it's attached to this, but there's a screw right under there. Okay, so here's this big aluminum bin. I'm going to flip these little clips up, and the spring mechanism will drop out. Or it'll come out. What are we stuck on? There we go. Okay, so this is that little spring mechanism that tells the computer when the pan is in there. So, and there's actually, it looks like there's a little tiny diode in the bottom of that. But this is mostly aluminum. This can be recycled, definitely. So I'm gonna try to get this apart, see if I can show you that diode. So I just need to bend over these tabs. Okay, so this bit of aluminum will get recycled. The spring will get recycled, although boy, sometimes it's good just to have a coffee can full of springs. But yeah, down inside there, see that little rectangle? There's a little diode in there, I do believe. So when that spring comes down and pushes on this, it makes a connection. Current flows through here and then probably goes off in this other direction. I don't know for sure. I don't know enough about electronics. But that is just pinned in there. You can see they just put a little dent on each side there. There's one there, one there. There's 4 dents, and those dents are what's holding that little thing in place. So I'm going to see if I can get that out without injuring myself. You know, and that's the operative phrase around here, without injuring myself. Because that's not always a given. That's why we invented Band-Aids. Well, I can't. I don't have anything fine enough to get in there. I do. I just don't have it with me. Hang on a second. Okay, so I'm a big fan of having just the right tool, and the tool I need in this case is a tiny, narrow, thin screwdriver that can get down in here, maybe. I don't think this is going to do it either, so I'll try something else later. In the meantime, this is just a big chunk of aluminum, and aluminum is almost infinitely recyclable. So let's see if I can get this bad boy off of here. I'm going to give it one more shot. Boy, he just does not want to come off of there. don't know if there's a pin mechanism or what. Usually these things are just kind of pressed on there. Well, wow, if the circuit board were as durable as this knob is, that this thing would still be working. So, okay, so bear with me. There we go. So I did a little bit of damage to the to this knob on the circuit board. He's a little bent now, but I did finally get this knob off, and this knob does not have a recycling mark, and of course this is not recyclable. So we'll set that over there. This bit here does indeed have a recycling mark on it, right there. Trying to get the light in there. This camera is actually above the level of my lights, so that gets recycled. Persistence pays off in the end. I need a little tiny Phillips screwdriver right now, because this was the switch for the pan. This was another mechanism apparently that told the computer that there was a pan in here. So this is just a little wire thingy that I need to get off of here, because this piece of plastic does indeed say that it's recyclable. Oh, these are some long screws. Kind of looks like that, and they're still coming out. Okay, all right, so this is, of course, just a little manual relay. You can hear it, maybe. So if I were still teaching science, I might hang on to this, just because that would be something we could use in an electronics project. All right, so this bit here, there's a spring that's recyclable there, and then this bit of plastic right there does indeed say that it is recyclable, so that will get recycled. Oops. And these two bits do not have a recycling mark, so they will not get recycled. Now what we have left to deal with is this, and why it does not come apart. All the screws are out of it, so I'm going to try. There we go. So this bit of plastic is recyclable. So I just need to get some screws off. Oh, that one's too small. All right, so screws off. This little bit of plastic is recyclable. Two screws here that hold this on. And I can just work my screwdriver in there enough that I don't need to go digging around for an offset screwdriver, because I know I have a pair of them, and I'm pretty sure I know where they are, but I'm kind of tired of running for things at this point. He needs to come out. Okay, so two more screws. This bit of plastic is indeed recyclable right up top here. You can see that. There we go. This is not. I think that's it. Okay, so out of all of this, let me get my tools out of the way. You'll notice, if you can, there's a lot of little plastic shavings here because most of these screws are actually thread-forming plastic screws. So they are inserted into a hole in the plastic, but they cut the thread as they go. So out of all of this thing that most people would just throw in the garbage dumpster, this bit here, okay, this is the non-recyclable portion. And we actually do have facilities in our county that will take things like circuit boards and deal with them as the kind of toxic waste that they can be. And so I will save these things and take them there. I really want to get that out, but I'll figure that out later. So this is it. This is all of the waste that can't be recycled, which is pretty doggone good. We also got quite a few screws out of it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And so all of this, as it turns out, is recyclable. So I'm going to use this pan here. So here are all the metal bits. Okay, so here are all the metal bits that can be recycled. And actually, I just discovered that this still has, this is metal, and I have a screw here. So hang on. We're not quite done yet. As the guy used to say on those commercials, but wait, there's more. Come on. Okay, he's done. Flip this guy over because I think that's a metal band on the front of this. There we go. And then inside there are these little spring mechanisms. This is rather clever. So this band, I do believe, is metal, and so they have these little spring mechanisms in here to allow it to contract and expand as this thing heats up. So, no, wrong bit. So we're going to have another piece of metal and 4 more springs. And I really do think I'm going to hang on to these springs. I took my cousin once when he was like 10 or 11 to a Renaissance fair, and he bought this little pirate's pistol that it like flipped a little thing over and made a loud sound. And the spring in it broke, and he was heartbroken because he loved this thing. And I thought, well, I could fix that if I just had the right kind of spring, but I didn't. So I've kind of been saving springs ever since because he was heartbroken. So yeah, that is a piece of metal. So put that in there. That can get recycled. And how does this handle come apart now? I guess you just pry these plastic caps off the end here. Ah, yes. Okay, so little tap. And that will probably knock the other end off. Yep. Okay, so that's a little metal tube that could be useful for something. I don't know if I'm going to recycle that. I might keep that. There's a seam in it though, so maybe not. So these 2 bits of plastic are recyclable. So now we have a complete count of our recyclable metal parts. So everything that's here is recyclable metal, which is pretty good, including this big, huge chunk of aluminum. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and take those springs out now, because you never know. So this is all of our metal stuff. Oh, that grill plate would count too, and so would this pan, except I'm keeping them. This this is our recyclable metals and our recyclable plastics. This was the lid. Wait. Every time you think you're done, there's something else. So there's this insert here. So let's get this guy off. So just a matter of pushing back these clips. And they're going back into place on me. There we go. Okay, so that's recyclable. This is very decorative. There are some little clips here that I'm just going to have to push up with the screwdriver. Yay! Or with a pair of pliers, and then I can get this metal bit out of here. Oh boy, yeah. So okay, so pop him out of here somehow. Of course, these clips didn't come out straight. That's the one thing I didn't grab was a pair of pliers. But if I can get a screwdriver under here, which it looks like I can, I can pry him out. So push with this guy. There we go. And then pop him out. Just work around. There we go. These are coming apart now. So okay, aluminum. Nope, that's stainless. This plastic bit is recyclable. So now we can evaluate our plastic bits yet again. In fact, I'm just going to pop him back into place without the metal so that we can put all our plastic in here. So got all these little plastic bits from the handle. These bits here were from the hinge that held the lid on. This is the control panel. This was part of the vent on the back. This was somewhere, I forget where. I made a video about it so I wouldn't forget. This was part of the lid. No, this was part of the top. No, this was part of the lid. This was part of the top of the base. This was the bottom of the base. And that's it. Oh, and this was the handle. So all of this plastic, instead of going in a landfill, I can now put in the recycling bin and get that recycled. This is all of our metal. Oh, and I forgot this piece of metal that was inside the top. Oops, loud. And of course this glass lid that they'll be able to get that metal out of. So, and I got a bunch of fasteners to add to my collection. And I have this, I think I will, I have a big Dieffenbachia. I think I'll put him in here because sometimes he leaks when I water him, which is probably because I'm overwatering him. So the vast majority of this is going to stay out of a landfill. It's all going to go into the recycling bin. The electronic components that are like this, I will take to hazardous waste and let them deal with it. Probably the wires too. So yeah, so really the only things that are actually going to end up in my trash are going to be these. Oops. Let's get you out of here. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bits of plastic, and I think there was another zip strip that's somewhere around here. Oh no, he stayed attached to the wires. So I'll get him off just to make an accurate count. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bits of plastic. and these two zip strips. This, out of all of this, is the only bit that is going in the trash here at my house. The plastic will go in the plastic recycling, metal will go in the metal recycling, the wires and circuit boards I will take to hazardous waste, and they will keep that out of our groundwater. So there you go. This wasn't as bad as I thought it might be, and it was actually kind of fun. And seeing the condition of this tablecloth, I'm really glad I bought this cheap $1.25 tablecloth at the $1.25 store. So that's all I got for you. Is this volume on? Yeah, okay, cool.